Tonight I invite you to step beyond the veil of appearances and peer into the eternal law that governs all things, the divine law of cause and effect. But I do not speak of the law as it is taught in the schools of logic or the dry philosophies of men. No, this is a sacred law, vibrantly alive, pulsing with creative power, the invisible root from which all visible things spring forth. The world you behold, with all its seeming complexity, is but the outpicturing of unseen causes. And where are these causes? Look not to the stars, nor to fate, nor to the opinions of others. The cause of all that you experience lies within. It is your inner movement, your felt state of consciousness, that gives rise to the effects you call reality. The secret is astonishingly simple. Your world is yourself pushed out. You walk through your own inner conversations, clothed in people and events. Every encounter, every triumph, every trial, these are mirrors reflecting the state you most consistently occupy within. And if you would change the outer, you must first change the inner. Do not be deceived by appearances. They are shadows cast by past imaginal acts. And so if you wish to shape a new destiny, you must turn from what your senses report and enter the silence, there to feel the reality of your desire as though it were already true. For feeling is the secret key, not idle wishing, not hopeful pleading, but the bold assumption that what you desire is already yours. You need no intermediary, no outer ritual, no permission from the world. You are the operant power. The law responds not to lip service, but to your innermost conviction. So dare to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Rest in that state, walk in that state, and persist in that state, and the world will reshuffle itself to mirror your new cause. This is not theory, this is law, divine law, immutable and exact, as certain as gravity. What you dare to imagine and sustain with feeling must come to pass. For imagination is the only cause. The inner movement, the unseen act, is the true genesis of everything you experience. Test it. Take a desire, a true desire, one that burns quietly in your heart, and bring it into the present moment. See it, hear it, touch it in the theater of your mind, and then feel it. Enter the scene until it feels real. Fall asleep in it. Walk your days in it. Return to it when doubt comes knocking, and in time, without striving, without struggle, what was once imaginal will become factual. It cannot fail. Every event in your life has its root in an imaginal act. The world is but the echo of your inner voice. Change the voice, change the world. For consciousness is the one and only reality, and your assumption, your belief, your feeling, these are the seeds you plant in the field of the divine. So, plant with care, imagine with love, and know that the law is always working, always producing after its kind. Whether in ignorance or in wisdom, we are always sowing, and what we sow, we shall surely reap. Now understand this, the outer world is not causative. It is not the source of your joy or your sorrow. It is not the origin of your luck or misfortune. It is the reflection. It is the print of the mold cast within you. And the mold is your state of consciousness. The divine law of cause and effect is not something distant, not some ancient commandment etched in stone. It is here now, in every breath you take, in every idea you entertain and accept as true. This law is divine because it never errs. It does not judge. It does not discriminate. It simply reflects. Imagine a mirror. The mirror does not ask whether your expression is good or bad, happy or sorrowful. It simply reflects what is before it. So it is with this law. Your dominant feelings, your assumptions, your imaginal acts, they form the pattern that the world must express. If you live in the feeling of lack, of fear, of limitation, then lack will surround you, fear will chase you, and limitation will manifest as fact. Not because you are being punished, but because you are powerful. You see, power is not given to a few. It is bestowed upon all, for it is inherent in consciousness itself. The moment you become aware, you are invested with this divine ability to imagine, to feel, to assume, and thereby to create. You may not have known you were using it, but you were. Every time you said, "This always happens to me," and it did, there was your proof. Every time you felt unworthy and found yourself passed over, overlooked, dismissed, that was the law in motion, honoring your inner decree. But once you awaken to this truth, once you realize that your inner conversations are causal, everything changes. You begin to take dominion over your thoughts, not by force but by awareness. You begin to ask yourself, not "What do I want?" but "What would I feel if it were already mine? How would I walk? How would I speak? How would I carry myself if I truly believed it done?" And then you dwell in that feeling, you nurture it, you persist in it, and the world must respond. It has no choice. The universe is not arbitrary. It is lawful, it is precise, and it bends not to your words, but to your inner state. So many ask, "How long must I wait?" But that is the wrong question. Time is not the master, time is the servant. Your job is not to watch the clock, but to dwell in the state, to remain faithful to your imaginal act. For the seed does not sprout because you dug it up every day to see if it was growing. It sprouts because you planted it, watered it, and trusted the process. So it is with this divine law. Persist in the assumption that your desire is fulfilled, and the outer world will rearrange itself to bring it forth. But beware the temptation to speak against your desire. Do not cancel your inner work with careless words. Do not say, "Nothing ever works out for me," and then wonder why the doors remain closed. Your words are born of your inner state, and your state is the cause of all. If you would change your speech, change your feeling. Enter a new mood, a new inner climate, and the words will change effortlessly. You may say, "But I don't feel wealthy, I don't feel loved, I don't feel healthy." Then I tell you, that is precisely where the work begins. Not by changing the world, but by changing the self. Go within, shut the door, turn away from what is, and enter into the imaginal scene of your desire fulfilled. Make it so vivid, so rich with sensory detail that you lose yourself in it. See what you would see, hear what you would hear, touch what you would touch. Let it be real, real enough to move you emotionally. For emotion is the fuel of creation. It is not enough to visualize. You must feel. You must move into the state of the wish fulfilled and make your home there. Not visit it as a guest, but dwell there as a resident. Speak from it, think from it, act from it. And soon, what was once inner will become outer. What was once unseen will stand before you in concrete reality. This is not daydreaming, this is not fantasy, this is divine law. This is how creation works, whether we understand it or not. Your imagination is not idle. It is the very workshop of God. And every time you assume a thing to be true, whether good or bad, you set in motion unseen forces that crystallize that assumption into fact. So if you find yourself living in unwanted conditions, do not condemn yourself, do not despair, simply revise. Go within and change the cause. Do not fight the effect, transcend it. See yourself as already free, already joyful, already prosperous, and hold that vision with love and faith, knowing that it must become your experience. There is no limit to what you can create, save the limits you accept. The world will tell you to be realistic. It will caution you not to expect too much. But reality is not fixed. Reality is fluid. It is a mirror, not a master. And when you change the image you hold within, the mirror must reflect it. This is the power that has been entrusted to you, not to beg, not to wish, but to assume and feel and create. Ask yourself now, what am I imagining? What am I entertaining in the theater of my mind? What story am I telling myself when no one is watching? For that is the story you are writing into your world. And if you would write a new chapter, you must begin by writing a new script. You cannot plant corn and reap wheat. The law does not mock you. It gives to each according to their inner state. Not what they say, not what they hope, but what they truly believe and feel themselves to be. So dare to believe differently. Dare to imagine more nobly. Dare to feel yourself into the life you desire. Even now, as I speak, you can begin, right where you are. You don't need anything outside you to start. You don't need approval or money or perfect circumstances. You need only one thing: your willingness to assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled. That is the golden key, that is the door. It may seem too simple, too easy, but the truth is always simple. It is our doubt, our conditioning, our fear that complicates it. We have been taught to worship the external, to chase results, to seek validation, but those things are echoes, they are effects. Return to the cause. Return to yourself. Begin to treat your imagination as sacred, not a place of idle fantasy, but the holy place of creation, the very womb of reality. What you accept there with feeling will be born here in time. And once it is born, do not say, "I knew this would happen." Say instead, "It is just as I imagined." And keep imagining, keep refining, keep elevating your inner world, for the outer will always follow the inner. It cannot do otherwise. This is the divine law, unwavering and eternal. You are not a victim of chance, nor a pawn in the hands of fate. You are the master of your destiny, the author of your story, the creator of your world. Let others call it coincidence, luck, serendipity. You will know the truth. You will have unlocked the secret. And the secret is not hidden. It is whispered in your heart every time you dare to dream. Every time you close your eyes and feel the reality of a better life. That is the voice of the divine within you, calling you home to yourself. So go now, not to do more, but to be more. Be still, be aware, be faithful to the unseen, and let the seen follow, for it must. It is law. You see, the law does not ask whether your desire is small or large, simple or complex. It responds to the nature of your assumption, to the depth of your belief. If you can feel it real, if you can enter the state and remain there, regardless of what the senses may scream, the law will not fail you. It never has, it never will. It is not a respecter of persons, it is a respecter of states. And every state contains within it the seeds of its own fulfillment. Doubt, then, is not an external force working against you. It is simply a shift of state. You leave the state of the wish fulfilled and enter into the state of not yet, not now, maybe never. And so the outer reflects that new state, but just as easily you may return. You may walk right back into the state of your desire. You may reclaim it with nothing more than a shift in feeling, a movement in imagination. Do not wait for permission to believe. Do not seek signs in the world before you allow yourself to feel what you long for. That is placing effect before cause. That is trying to see your reflection smile before you smile yourself. The cause is always within. The inner movement must precede the outer manifestation. You may say, "But I have assumed, and still I see nothing." Then I ask you, have you truly assumed, or have you merely hoped? Have you dwelled in the state, or only visited it occasionally? Have you persisted, or have you allowed appearances to rob you of your faith? For persistence is the fire that burns away all opposition. It is not the occasional assumption that bears fruit, but the sustained one. You are not being tested by some external judge. You are being invited to learn the laws of your own being. You are being shown that your every thought is a seed, your every feeling a mold. And when that seed is watered with repetition and belief, when that mold is held in the stillness of faith, it must take form. Even your reactions are creative. What you accept as true of yourself and of others, what you consent to emotionally, these become the patterns of your life. Do not judge by appearances, but judge righteous judgment. That is, judge not according to what is, but according to what you desire to see made manifest. If someone mistreats you, imagine them differently. If a situation oppresses you, revise it in your mind's eye. For all things are flexible, all conditions are subject to change. Nothing is fixed unless you persist in imagining it so. That is the wonder and the responsibility of this divine gift, the gift of imagination. You may enslave yourself with it, or you may set yourself free. You have been told, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." That is not poetic language, it is spiritual law. The heart in that teaching refers not to emotion alone, but to belief, the deep inner conviction of what is true. If you think yourself poor, unloved, incapable, then life will affirm that belief again and again, not to punish, but to reflect. And the moment you think otherwise, the moment you dare to assume that you are rich in spirit, deeply loved and divinely capable, the mirror must change. It cannot hold the old reflection when you are no longer standing there, so move, shift, imagine again. Take your attention away from what is and give it fully to what can be, what already is in the unseen realm of imagination. That unseen realm is not less real, it is more real, for it is cause. It is the womb of creation. Every great life, every miracle, every sudden change began as an imaginal act. You may not have seen the imagining, but it was there. Nothing comes into being uncaused. The divine does not play dice with the universe. What you see now is simply harvest. If you do not like what grows in your field, do not curse the fruit, change the seed. You are never stuck. No matter how permanent your situation may seem, you are simply standing in a state, and all states are movable. You may shift this very moment. You may rise out of limitation and into liberty by assuming a new feeling. There is no process more sacred, no ritual more powerful, no ceremony more effective than the still, quiet act of imagining differently. This is the true temple, not one built with hands, but the inner sanctuary of your awareness. Here in the silence, in the secrecy of your own being, is where creation begins. No one may see you do it, no one may applaud or affirm you, but soon the results will speak for themselves. And the world will say, "How did this happen?" And you will know. You will smile not because you were lucky, but because you were faithful to the unseen. Do not measure your ability by what you have done before. Do not limit yourself to the facts of the past. The past is but a memory, held alive only by your attention. Withdraw that attention. Free yourself from its weight. The only moment that creates is now, and now you are free to assume whatever state you choose. Choose wisely, choose boldly, do not shrink before your desires. They are not foolish. They are not excessive. They are messages from the deeper part of you, the divine part, whispering what is possible. Trust them, honor them, step into them in imagination, and claim them as already yours. Others may not understand. That is fine. You are not required to convince them. The law does not need consensus to function. It only needs your assumption, your inner consent. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you feel it to be real, the world begins to echo that state in 1,000 ways. Doors open, people show up, ideas come, things shift, and you stand at the center of it all, not as a spectator, but as a creator, not as one who waits, but as one who commands, not with force, but with faith. Faith is not blind. Faith sees what the eyes cannot. It sees through the lens of the fulfilled desire. It walks as if, speaks as if, lives as if, and thereby calls the unseen into visibility. When you have faith in this divine law, you no longer fear appearances. You no longer react with panic or doubt. You know that what you see is old news, echoes of imaginations past, and you know with quiet certainty that a new echo is forming even now from your present assumption. So ask yourself, what am I assuming now? Not yesterday, not last year, now. For now is all there is, and from now flows every future. Are you assuming life is hard, that money is scarce, that love is distant? Then that shall be your experience, not because it must be, but because you are imagining it so. But you can choose again. You can assume that life is for you, that abundance flows freely, that love surrounds you and rises within you. You can walk in that state long before the evidence arrives, and in doing so, you call it into being. Do not let the delay fool you. Every assumption fulfilled has its own gestation. A rose and an oak tree grow at different paces, but both respond to the law. Trust the seed, trust the process, persist without strain, live in the end, and let the means unfold. You do not need to know how, that is not your domain. You only need to know that it is so, that it is already done, that the unseen cause is now active and the effect will follow. This is the secret. This is the great mystery unveiled. You are not separate from the divine, you are an expression of it. And the power that formed the stars now works through your imagination. Use it with love, use it with awareness, use it to bless, to uplift, to create beauty in your world and the world of others. This law is not here to bind you, it is here to set you free, to remind you of what you truly are, not flesh and bone alone, but spirit clothed in form. And your spirit, your imagination, is the sacred workshop in which worlds are made. The door is always open, the moment is always now. The law is always listening. The law does not sleep. It is not activated only when you concentrate or when you make a deliberate effort. It is working at all times, faithfully echoing the state you occupy, whether that state was entered with intention or by unconscious habit. This is why it is said, "Watch ye therefore, watch what you allow yourself to feel, watch what you consent to be true. For what you consent to, you become." And the great tragedy is not that people imagine too boldly, it is that they imagine too small, too passively, too fearfully. They believe more in the evidence of their senses than in the power of their inner world. But the senses are not the source of truth. They are the shadows cast by earlier imaginings. To live by the senses alone is to drift like a leaf on the wind, carried by conditions you unknowingly created. But when you turn within and begin to live from the imagination, from the inner conviction that your desire is already yours, you take back your creative power. You become a conscious participant in your unfolding destiny. You are no longer driven, you are directing. You are no longer at the mercy of the world, you are shaping it. This is the divine law of cause and effect, that every inner movement creates a corresponding outer movement. That the world is yourself, written in form, and that to change the world you need not beg or strive or compete, you need only to assume a new state, to feel the reality of your ideal and persist in that feeling. Persistence is the secret ingredient. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled once and then return to doubt is like planting a seed and then digging it up. But to dwell in the state, to return to it again and again, to live from it until it becomes your natural home, this is the true creative act. And you do not need effort to persist, only love. If you truly love the feeling of your desire fulfilled, you will return to it often. You will dwell in it as in a sacred space. You will wear it like a robe, soft and familiar, and the world in response will yield to your inner conviction. You need not force change in others. You need not battle circumstances. The only change you ever need to make is within yourself. And when you change, everything changes. For the world is a mirror, and it cannot reflect anything except what you are imagining it to be. This is why resentment, blame, and bitterness are such dangerous companions. Not because they are immoral, but because they are creative. They fix your attention on unwanted states, and in doing so they perpetuate them. But when you forgive, when you let go of the old story and imagine a new, you dissolve the past and create a new cause, and the new effect must follow. You are always standing at a threshold, always holding the power to imagine a better life, a freer version of yourself. But you must enter the state to know its fruit, not wish for it, not admire it from afar, but live in it, dwell in it, be it. For being is the only true knowing. To say I am and follow it with truth, with conviction, is to call that truth into form. If you say I am successful and feel it, believe it, rest in it, then success must find you. If you say I am loved and let that feeling saturate your being, then love must reflect itself in your world. The divine does not delay because it is cruel. It does not withhold because it is testing you. It gives instantly to your state of consciousness. The delay you experience is only the time it takes for the outer to catch up with the inner, but the change happens at once. The moment you shift your state, the harvest begins. You may not see it immediately, but it is done. And so you walk in faith, not because you are blind, but because you have seen the truth with inner vision. You have felt the reality of the thing you desire, and now you walk as if it were already so. That is faith, that is power, that is alignment with the divine law. No condition is permanent unless you declare it so. No pattern repeats unless you feed it with your attention. The moment you say no more, and turn within to assume a new state, the old must begin to dissolve. It may resist, it may linger, but it cannot hold. The light of a new assumption is too powerful for the shadows of the past. Do not ask the world to be different. Ask yourself, what am I assuming about this? And then change the assumption. If you see someone as hostile, imagine them kind. If you feel poor, imagine abundance. If you feel stuck, imagine freedom. For every change you make within will eventually write itself upon the screen of space. And what is space? It is nothing but imagination made visible. It is the stage upon which your assumptions play out. Your world is not separate from you, it is you, projected outward, mirrored back. You do not live in a world, you live through it. And you walk among your own thoughts, dressed in form. So choose your thoughts well, choose your inner conversations with care, for what you repeat in the silence of your mind becomes the loudest echo in your life. Speak to yourself as one who is already what they long to be. Think from your desire, not of it. Feel from its fulfillment, not toward it. This is the great art, the art of imagining. It is not idle fantasy, it is divine instruction. Every prophet, every sage, every awakened soul has known this secret, that imagination is God in action, that what you dare to claim in the inner world will one day stand firm in the outer. But it begins with you, not with the world, not with the others, with you, with your decision to believe, your choice to assume, your willingness to persist. So go now, not to strive, not to plead, not to wish, but to assume. Go in the stillness of your being. Close your eyes and see what your heart longs to see. Feel what your soul longs to feel, and rest there. Rest in the truth that the divine law is already at work, that the effect is on its way, because the cause has already been planted. You are not waiting on life, life is waiting on you. And if ever you forget, if the world overwhelms you with its noise, remember this: the silence within is your sanctuary. It is not emptiness, it is fullness, alive with infinite potential. When the noise outside becomes too loud, retreat into yourself, not to escape, but to create. Go there not to beg, but to know, to remember who you are. You are not a prisoner of your past. You are not the result of statistics or predictions or others' expectations. You are not the labels you've worn nor the failures you've feared. You are cause clothed in form. You are the unseen made visible. And what you now choose to accept as true of yourself, that is the next chapter of your life. So make the inner world more real than the outer. Feel more deeply about what you desire than what you fear. If your body feels sick, imagine it whole. If your bank account is low, imagine it full. Not as a childish game, not as denial, but as the highest form of faith. Faith is imagination set to motion with certainty. It is knowing beyond all appearances that the unseen is greater than the seen. And in this knowing, everything bends. Even the hardest conditions, even the most long-standing patterns, yield to the steady, confident assumption that they are already changed, that you are already changed, that your world is already reflecting your new state, because it must. The law is divine because it does not change. It has never failed and never will. It is the same yesterday, today, and forever. It is written into the fabric of being, vibrating in every cell of existence, echoing in every breath you take. You are never apart from it. You cannot be. You are it, expressing itself in time. So let go of effort. Let go of waiting. Begin to accept now, not later, not when the outer matches, but now, when it matters most. The moment you feel it real, you claim dominion. You say to the world, I am not waiting to see, I see, and therefore it shall be. Others may call you foolish. They may ask, where is it? Where's the proof? But you need not prove a thing. Your knowing is enough. Your assumption is the seed, and in time when the fruit appears, they will forget they doubted. Or they will ask for your secret, and you will know it was never outside of you, it was always within. Every transformation begins in silence, in stillness, in the unseen place where you choose again. Choose to be. Choose to feel. Choose to walk as the one you desire to be. And the law, faithful, obedient, exact, will mirror that choice in every detail of your life. If you fall, if you doubt, if you slip into old patterns, do not condemn yourself, do not reinforce the state you wish to leave. Simply rise again, assume again, feel again. The law does not punish, it only reflects. You are always free to move, free to shift, free to create anew. So, saturate yourself with the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Let it fill your words, your thoughts, your gestures. Speak as one who already knows. Smile as one who has already received. Not because you are pretending, but because you are awakening to the truth. The truth that you are one with the creative power of the universe, and it moves at the command of your assumption. This is why imagination is holy. Why it must be treated not as a daydream, but as a sacred act. You are shaping substance with every scene you construct, with every feeling you entertain. You are not hoping, you are creating. And creation begins with the inner vision sustained by inner conviction. Do not wait for conditions to give you permission. They will never come. The world does not tell you who you are. You tell it. And when you finally decide, when you finally stand in the knowing of your own power, the world must rearrange to make room for the new version of you. Your relationships will change, your finances will shift, your health will align, not by chance, not by force, but by the law. You change the cause, and the effect, faithful and sure, follows. The change may come in ways you do not expect. Let it. Do not limit the law to your logic. Do not demand it come by the method you chose. Your only task is to remain faithful to the end you have imagined. The how is not your burden. The how is the domain of the unseen forces that obey your state. So be unwavering, be still, be bold, and if fear visits you, speak to it. Say, I know who I am, I know what I have assumed. I know what I have felt to be true, and so it is. Let your faith be louder than your fear. Let your vision be stronger than your senses. Do not argue with the old world. Simply outgrow it. Do not resist the past. Revise it. In your imagination, rewrite the scene. Make it right. Let it heal. Let it align with your ideal. For imagination is not bound by time. It redeems, it resurrects, it reorders all things according to your assumption. You are not just a participant in life, you are the initiator. You begin the motion, you set the tone. You are the origin, not the echo. And the more you assume this truth, the more your life will reflect the majesty and power that has always been yours. So walk gently, but with power. Speak softly, but with conviction. Live quietly, but with vision. Let your inner world become so rich, so clear, so real, that the outer has no choice but to mirror it. And when it does, you will not be surprised, you will not wonder how, you will smile with peace, with knowing, and simply say, of course. And even now, as these words reach you, something within is stirring, a quiet recognition. Not because these truths are new to you, but because they were always there, waiting to be remembered. This divine law is not foreign to your being. It is your being. It does not need to be understood intellectually to be used. It only needs to be accepted and lived. There is no distance between you and your desire. The only thing that stands between you and what you seek is a state. And states are not earned, they are chosen. At any moment you may choose again. You may step out of the identity of lack and into the identity of fulfillment. You may leave the shadow and step into the light. You do this not by willpower but by feeling, by assuming the state and letting it claim you from within. The moment you assume a new state, you begin to think new thoughts. You speak in a new tone. You radiate a new energy. You attract different outcomes, not by striving, not by effort, but by law. The world reflects back what you are, not what you want. And so, wanting changes nothing. Being changes everything. And this is why so many struggle. They continue to want, to hope, to plead, but they do not step into the state. They wait for the world to give them permission to feel the thing they long for. But the law does not respond to waiting. It responds to feeling. It responds to assumption. It responds to the one who dares to say, I am, even when the senses scream otherwise. Can you walk as one who is already healed, even when the body still aches? Can you speak as one who is already free, even when the cage still rattles? Can you bless your world even when it seems barren, knowing that your blessing is planting the cause of your next harvest? This is the secret of the great ones. Not that they had more power than you, but that they believed. They turned within and stayed there. They refused to accept appearances as final. They walked in imagination more than in memory. They practiced the feeling of fulfillment until the world bowed to their vision. And so can you. Imagination is not escape. It is direction. It is the divine blueprint from which reality unfolds. When you imagine with feeling, you are not creating a fantasy, you are creating a spiritual prototype. And the law, which never fails, will give it flesh in its time. But you must not let doubt erode your state. Doubt is not something to fight, it is something to transcend. You do not defeat doubt with struggle. You defeat it by returning to the state of knowing, by feeling the end again and again until it becomes your dwelling place. Live from the end, not toward it, not hoping for it from it. Every time you speak, ask yourself, am I speaking from the fulfilled state or from the unfulfilled one? Every time you act, ask, am I acting as the one who has or the one who lacks? The answers will show you your state, and your state is your cause. You cannot trick the law with words. You cannot say one thing and feel another and expect results. It is not the statement that creates, it is the assumption behind the statement. You may say, I am wealthy 1,000 times, but if you feel lack, the law hears your feeling, not your words. But if you say it once and feel it, believe it, know it, then the seed is sown. The world will test that seed, not to destroy it, but to strengthen your conviction. Do not be shaken. The storm comes only to reveal the firmness of your foundation. If you hold to your state, even when appearances contradict it, you will see what few allow themselves to see, the law bending reality around your assumption. And then you will know that nothing was ever outside you. The people, the money, the answers, the opportunities, they all moved in response to the silent music you played within. You became the cause, and the world became the echo. And then life becomes different. No longer are you tossed about by circumstance. You move with purpose, not panic. You respond with calm, not confusion, because you know deeply, unwaveringly, that you are not reacting to life, you are creating it. You may not control every event, but you control the cause. You may not choose the sequence of how things arrive, but you choose the state from which they come. And when you hold the state, the sequence arranges itself. So begin now, not tomorrow, not after things improve, now. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled now. Let it wrap around you like a coat. Let it become more real than the chair you sit on. Let it be your atmosphere, your breath, your home. The more you dwell in that state, the more the world must conform. It is law, it is certain, it is exact. The universe is not random, it is precise. It does not operate on chance, but on correspondence. Your inner state is the blueprint, and reality is the building. Do not concern yourself with tearing down the old. Simply build the new. The old will dissolve on its own. When the light comes, the darkness vanishes. When the new state is stable, the old state loses its power. So, stabilize yourself in your chosen state. Return to it often. Visit it in imagination until it becomes your default reality, until your reactions, your words, your energy align with it naturally. And soon, what was once only felt will be seen, what was once only imagined will be lived, and the world will seem changed, not because it changed, but because you did. And when you change, everything follows. And so, as you walk forward from this moment, remember, there is no power outside of you greater than the one within you. You are the cause clothed in form. You are the imaginer, the dreamer, the operant power. The world is not waiting to bless you, it is waiting to reflect you. Assume the highest, the noblest, the most beautiful version of yourself, and hold to it with unwavering faith. Feel it real, live from the end, and the law perfect and sure will not fail to bring it forth. All things are possible now. All things are yours now. Simply claim them in the silence by the law, and it is done.